Dawn breaks quickly across the dry savanna of northern Tanzania. As the first light filters through the thorny acacia trees, I can already hear the soft footsteps of hunters preparing to leave camp. Before me stand the Hadzabe people, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer communities in Africa. Everything here feels completely different from modern life. Just a few simple huts set in the wild, raw yet peaceful and pure, like a quiet call pulling me back to myself. There are no phones, no clocks, no long-term plans, only the morning hunger and the hunt. An older man crouches down, studying the sandy ground. He touches a set of small tracks and quietly signals the group. I can't see anything special, but to them, it tells a full story. An African wildcat passed through here before dawn. The hunt begins in complete silence. They move quickly but with incredible care. Each step lands almost without a sound. Bows are always ready. Their small arrows are tipped with poison extracted from local plants, a hunting method passed down through generations. I try to keep up, but within minutes I realize I've stepped into a world of people truly born to live with nature. My throat dries quickly. The hot sand burns through my shoes. I begin to understand, here, walking is not just movement, it is survival. After nearly an hour of tracking, the group suddenly stops. I'm still scanning the area when I catch a glimpse ahead. A wild cat darts through the grass like a shadow. No one shouts. No one rushes forward. The cat startles, disappears into the bushes, and is gone. I think it's over. But they don't chase. They wait. Then move again. Slow, steady, eyes fixed on the ground. Tracking. Circling. Entering the brush. One hunter lifts his bow, draws silently, and releases. The arrow flies almost without a sound. No cheering. Just a small nod, as if to say, thank you. And what surprises me most is this: before thinking about food, they talk about water. Here, water is not something you carry all day in a bottle, it's something you must find at the right time, in the right place. Miss it by a moment, and your entire plan changes. In the city, I plan my day by the hour. Here, they plan their day by where water still exists. The cat is prepared right where it was found. A fire is made using dry branches. No pots, no elaborate seasoning. The meat is skewered on sticks and roasted over open flames. What impresses me most is how they start the fire. No lighter, no matches, just two dry sticks rubbed together patiently until the first thread of smoke appears. Slow, but certain, like everything they do in harmony with nature. When the meat is ready, it carries the distinct aroma of wild game. One Hadzabe man hands me a piece, still hot. I taste it. It's chewy, slightly sweet, and intensely wild, unlike anything I've ever eaten. A strange but beautiful flavor, the taste of the forest itself. They eat slowly, sharing portions with everyone around, including children who have just arrived from the camp. Here, no one eats alone. Everything hunted belongs to the community, shared so that everyone As night falls, the sky fills with so many stars that I can barely recognize familiar constellations. A few men remain by the fire. The children are asleep. The wind moves softly through the acacia trees. I sit there, thinking about the morning, the footprints in the sand, the silent arrow, the simple meal in the middle of the savannah. A day in the Hadzabe life begins with finding food and ends with sharing it. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is excessive. Just enough for a warm and peaceful day. And strangely, in what seems like the wildest place on earth, I feel the deepest sense of human connection. No one eats alone. No one keeps things for themselves. I return to the modern world, where everything is always available, and I begin to wonder, in having so much, have we forgotten what it feels like to be grateful for a meal, and to feel warmth simply from sitting together? Perhaps what truly matters is not trying to have more, but learning to know what is enough, and to share it with those around us. To stay open, and to help when it is needed. On the Tanzanian savannah, there are no modern buildings, no road signs. Only dry wind, low scrubland, and faint footprints on the sand. In this harsh land, one of the last remaining indigenous tribes continues to survive, the Hadzabe. The Hadzabe do not live within nature. This is not an idealized lifestyle. It is a way of life that blends completely with the environment that has sustained them for tens of thousands of years. Morning arrives without a schedule. The Hadzabe begin their day without a fixed plan, without alarm clocks. They survive through hunting and gathering, so hunting tools are essential. There is no modern equipment here, only bows made from simple forest wood, hand-shaped arrowheads, and, most notably, their use of poison extracted from tree resin, a substance that allows them to bring down prey, even animals that are large or strong. When everything is ready, the hunters set out together toward the wild. They carefully read every trace left by their prey, broken branches, footprints in the sand, even the smallest signs are interpreted with precision. I realize they are not truly chasing the animal. They observe. They wait. They act only when the moment opens. When the prey is located, they move carefully into the perfect position. Arrows are released. The chase begins. The poison on the arrows does not kill instantly, but they know the animal will not travel far. This is when they begin tracking together. They do not celebrate when the prey is brought down. To them, one life has ended so that other lives may continue. After the wild boar hunt, I am told about another kind of hunt, rarer, and not one that happens often, the serval cat. Only during periods of food scarcity does the serval become a possibility, not a fixed target. Every decision involves careful consideration, risk, need, and the impact on the surrounding balance. What matters is not only whether the hunt is possible, but whether it is truly necessary. For the Hadzabe, knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing how to hunt. In their world, hunting is not an expression of power, but a responsibility. The next day, I follow a honey hunter. He climbs a tall tree, without safety ropes. Only a knife, smoke, and a deep understanding of his body's limits. Bees scatter. He takes the honey, only what is needed. A small amount drips onto the ground. Children run over, lick honey from their fingertips, laughing loudly. No one stops them. No one asks, whose is it? In the Hadzabe world, nature is not property. It is an ongoing relationship. The meat is brought back to camp. No modern cooking equipment. No expensive seasonings. Only fire, stone knives, and hands familiar with both life and death. Women, children, elders, everyone receives a share. There is no concept of status at the meal. Sharing happens like a natural reflex, without explanation. I sit there, eating with them. Simple roasted meat, smoke carrying the scent of the forest. And I realize, this is one of the most complete meals I have ever had, not because of abundance, but because nothing is held back unnecessarily. The Hadzabe do not store food for the long term. Anthropologists call this an immediate return society, one that focuses on the present rather than controlling the future. This does not mean they are careless or naive. It means they trust the consistency of their relationship with the forest. If they live rightly today, the forest will not turn its back on them tomorrow. That idea unsettles me. Perhaps it is our obsession with controlling tomorrow that keeps modern humans in a constant state of anxiety. The Hadzabe are not poor. They are simply not greedy. They are not backward. They simply refuse to chase what lies beyond their limits. And perhaps, in a world that is loud, endlessly consuming, and increasingly exhausted, it is these people, who know how to stand still, who make me ask, is civilization really measured by how much we possess, or by knowing when to stop, at the right moment, and when it is enough? There is a place in this world where money and social status hold no value. No modern equipment. No shops. No conveniences. The first time I set foot in Tanzania, a question kept echoing in my mind: if money and status were stripped away, what would remain to prove that we are human? Here, the Hadzabe people, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer tribes on Earth, have lived this way for more than 50,000 years. No social media. No accumulation. No competition. Today, join us on a journey of survival with them. From hunting and gathering to shared meals where selfishness has no place in this wild land. The first time I stepped into Hadzabe land, I felt something very strange. Not excitement. Not fear. But a feeling of being stripped bare. There were no signs. No engine sounds. No Wi-Fi. Only the wind, the scent of dry earth, and the calm gazes of people who have lived this way for tens of thousands of years. The Hadzabe don't go to work. They hunt to survive. Every morning, while the sun is still low, the men pick up their bows and arrows and walk into the forest. No one gives orders. No one assigns roles. They simply look at one another, nod, and go. The hunters observe every sign around them with care. All their senses are fully awake, ears tuned to bird calls, eyes scanning for the slightest movement, noses reading the wind. This place is completely different from the modern world, where survival is bought with money. Here, survival comes from understanding nature. The hunt leads us deep into the forest, where the tracks of baboons are still fresh.
È accaduto.
I feel uneasy. I have never truly lived this way before. The Hadzabe communicate with me more through gestures than words. In them, I sense a rare calmness. No rush. No worry. No tension. As if they are certain of one thing: if today's hunt fails, the forest will still be there tomorrow. I do not see cruelty in how the Hadzabe hunt, only necessity. They do not hunt for entertainment, for display, or to store excess. They hunt only enough to feed the tribe for that day. One of the experiences that filled me with both admiration and fear was following the Hadzabe to collect wild honey. They climb tall trees, facing aggressive swarms of wild bees. No modern protective gear. Only smoke, experience, and calmness. I stood watching, my heart beating faster than usual. To me, bees are something to avoid. To them, bees are life. The honey is shared immediately, right there. Its taste is intensely sweet, slightly sharp, sticky on the hands and lips. I have never tasted honey this alive. It isn't bottled. It isn't labeled. It is a direct gift from the forest. Gathering is primarily done by Hadzabe women. They walk into the forest, digging for tubers and roots. This work requires patience and knowledge no book could ever teach. They know exactly which roots are edible, which must be avoided, and they teach their children from a very young age, not through lectures, but by doing together. There is no condescension here. No discrimination. The women's work is never seen as secondary. When the prey is brought back, the atmosphere is nothing like what I imagined. There is no cheering. No display of pride. I am invited to join this wild feast. Honestly, my mind is filled with questions. But when the first bite of meat touches my tongue, what I feel is not fear of how it was prepared, and truth be told, it feels deeply rewarding after such a hunt. I suddenly realize, the greatest difference between me and them is not the food, but the way I have been taught to see the world. The Hadzabe feast has no table, no chairs, no important seats. Everyone gathers together. Food is shared equally. No one takes more. No one is left out. I notice something quietly powerful. Women, men, children, all are equal in the meal. There is no concept of those who earn more eat more. Here, everyone is part of the tribe. As sunset falls, the last light paints the forest in gold. I sit with the Hadzabe, listening to the wind and insects. No one talks about tomorrow. No one worries about a distant future. I realize something deeply uncomfortable for modern humans. They do not have much, but they are not lacking. No money. No status. No pressure to become someone. But they have time. They have community. They have a deep, unbroken connection with nature. Before leaving, one question stays with me, a question I may carry for a very long time. If one day everything I cling to disappears, what part of me will remain? This journey did not give me an answer, but it gave me a different way of looking at life. Hello and welcome back to Tribal Earth Travel, the place where we explore the cultures and histories of tribes across the world. Today, follow me deep into the vast, harsh African savanna, where life and death stand only a heartbeat apart. There, I witnessed a rare and incredibly risky event, a direct confrontation between the Hadzabe tribe and the undisputed ruler of the wild, the lion. As the first rays of dawn struggled to pierce through the cracked, dry earth, a thunderous roar echoed from afar. That sound was not just the roar of a beast, it was a chilling warning, a merciless declaration that on this land, humans are not the only creatures born with the instinct of a predator. To most of the world, the lion is a legend, an icon of power, the apex of the food chain, the proud lord of the savannah. But to the Hadzabe, one of the last true hunter-gatherer tribes remaining on Earth, the lion represents something entirely different. To them, The lion is not always a revered symbol, sometimes, it is a real and immediate threat, a brutal test of survival that they must confront with courage and ancestral wisdom. Between the lion's brute strength and humanity's will to survive, a silent battle began. A heavy, solemn silence filled the air, for the Hadzabe hunters knew this was one of the most dangerous hunts of all. Against a lion, a bow and arrow must be more than sharp, they must be perfect. They inspected each bow, ensuring the animal's sinew strings were tightened to absolute precision. Then, they carefully reapplied poison. The toxin, extracted from the sap of the euphorbia plant, was reduced and thickened into a dark, potent layer on the arrowheads. This was their only hope. The arrow had to bring the beast down, or at least weaken it, as quickly as possible. Alongside the bows, they prepared long wooden spears to divert and distract the lion's attention, and sharp hunting knives strapped where they could be drawn in an instant, tools of last resort survival. Looking at these simple but meticulously prepared weapons, I realized, this was not a battle of technology, it was a battle of will and ancient survival knowledge. The sun climbed high, shining directly down on the fallen prey, a large antelope lying on the ground. But the feast had been interrupted. From thick brush nearby, a massive male lion emerged, its eyes burning with hunger and aggression. It growled, a deep, commanding sound that claimed unquestionable ownership of the kill. Fear was real in that moment, but I saw the Hadzabe hunters rise above instinct. They did not run. They stood tall, gripping their bows tighter. This was no longer just a hunt, it was a clash of wills. Two young hunters quickly drew their arrows, bows taut and ready. Meanwhile, the eldest hunter slowly stepped forward, spear in hand, eyes locked onto the lion's gaze. Their strategy was to overwhelm the king of beasts with fire and loud noises. The lion grew furious. It roared louder, baring its razor-sharp fangs. But just as it tensed to charge, an arrow was released. It flew lightly but landed with precision, striking a non-fatal spot, painful enough to warn, not to kill. The arrow wasn't meant to take its life, it was meant to draw a boundary. The standoff dragged on, tense and breathless. Finally, faced with the Hadzabe's unwavering resolve, their willingness to fight to the very end to reclaim what was theirs, the lion hesitated. It realized the price of this meal was far too high. With a growl of frustration, it turned away and disappeared back into the tall grass. Victory belonged to the hunters. I couldn't help but tremble with awe at their bravery and skill. It was a moment where human intelligence and determination overcame the strongest beast of the savannah. Through this encounter, it became clear that Hadzabe life is not about showing off strength. They chase lions only in extreme circumstances, when survival itself is threatened, or when the tribe's future depends on a bold decision. And I witnessed exactly such a moment. These intense clashes often happen for a very practical reason. Lions frequently steal the Hadzabe's hard-earned kills. Following the scent of fresh blood, lions boldly claim the prey that hunters fought and bled to bring down. In these rare and desperate situations, the Hadzabe must act. It is not only about reclaiming precious food. It is about asserting their place in the wild, proving that humans cannot be dismissed as weak. In those moments, they are not merely hunters, they are warriors defending their honor, their sustenance, and their ancestral way of life. The feeling was both awe-inspiring and spine-chilling.
With this bird,
After witnessing this life and death confrontation with a lion, I realized a profound truth about the Hadzabe. From a modern perspective, their lifestyle may seem lacking, but in reality, it holds a priceless lesson in simple abundance. They teach us that simplicity is not poverty, it is freedom from unnecessary material burdens. Without the weight of money, technology, or the obsession with possessions, people can direct their energy toward what truly matters: community, instinct, and survival. Facing the king of the savannah, the Hadzabe redefine courage and recklessness. Their bravery is not madness, it is calculated wisdom preserved through thousands of years. Their boldness is not blind, it is a measured resolve born from the need to protect their community's survival. And with that, our journey comes to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like and share your admiration for the Hadzabe people.
Sweet to the taste. The immature combs are usually lighter in the baby. There's the bees right there. Of course, you can see how small they are. Tiny, tiny, tiny.
Hello everyone. When the first secrets about the Hadzabe lifestyle were revealed, I simply couldn't stop. My journey into the world of the last primitive hunters of Tanzania has entered a new chapter, a chapter where we confront the harshest trials of survival. While hunting antelopes or baboons requires agility, facing a wild boar demands courage, strength, and head-on battle strategy. The warthog, with its thick hide and razor-sharp tusks, is one of the most dangerous prey animals on the savannah. Hunting it not only provides a generous source of meat but also serves as proof of the Hadzabe's masterful skills. Moreover, the way they prepare and share the meat reflects their deep-rooted culinary rituals and their sacred laws of fairness. Today, let's follow in the silent footsteps of the Hadzabe hunters as they confront a warthog. We won't just explore their ancient hunting tactics, we'll also immerse ourselves in their most primal food rituals, learning timeless lessons about survival and the humble way of life they uphold. And you know what surprised me the most? Their entire technology of hunting is unbelievably simple. No shiny metal tools, no modern machinery, only materials taken directly from nature, crafted by their own hands, and perfected through thousands of years of inherited wisdom. Every weapon is the result of generations of experience. Hunting a warthog is nothing like hunting smaller animals. A single mistake could injure the hunters, or cost them their prey. That's why the Hadzabe warriors always discuss strategy beforehand: who will track the animal, who will block its path, and who will keep the group safe. These decisions rely on a deep understanding of the warthog's behavior. This time, the Hadzabe chose to hunt in the late afternoon and at night, when the warthog returns to its burrow after a long day of foraging, tired and most vulnerable. Warthogs like to hide in thick bushes or near small ponds and streams, coming out only briefly to feed. These habits allow the Hadzabe to predict their routes and choose the perfect ambush location. A fully grown warthog can weigh between 50 and 100 kilograms, fast, aggressive, and unpredictable. When threatened, they can charge directly at hunters. So teamwork, patience, and skill tracking become crucial. For the Hadzabe, hunting a warthog isn't just about securing food. It's a lesson in survival, cooperation, and passing knowledge to the young. Every gesture, every sound is controlled as the hunt begins. Entering the thick bushes, they move with precision, each step light on the dry earth. They don't just watch the ground, they read the landscape, hoofprints in the mud, scratches on trees, even dried droppings. Every detail is a clue to the prey's direction, size, and condition. When the warthog was finally spotted, a young hunter released a shockingly accurate arrow. The animal thrashed wildly in the bushes, but the trackers behind quickly launched more arrows. Within moments, the poison took effect, and the warthog collapsed. Today's hunt comes to an end, and once again the Hadzabe prove, strength doesn't come from modern weapons, it comes from knowledge, experience, and harmony with nature. After spending time with their community and observing their perfect division of labor, I began to notice another extraordinary aspect: their language. They speak Hadzabe, one of the world's rare click languages, a linguistic treasure believed to reflect some of humanity's earliest roots. It includes not only familiar sounds but also complex click consonants, tongue snaps that resemble tapping or tiny bells made with the mouth. It's incredible that this ancient language has survived for thousands of years, a living testimony to the origins of humankind. After an exhausting day of hunting, as the blazing sunrise painted the horizon red, the Hadzabe men returned from last night's battle. They brought not just the warthog, the precious prize, but also silent pride. The entire camp quickly came alive with a lively yet orderly atmosphere. Some built a large fire. The women prepared gathered ingredients. The hunters skillfully butchered and processed the meat. It felt like watching a portrait of unity on the savannah, painted by the Hadzabe themselves. Their cuisine is an ode to simplicity. No pots, complex spices, or elaborate techniques. They grill meat directly over glowing embers, or cook everything together in one large pan. When the meat is done, its rich aroma fills the camp, mingling with laughter and cheerful voices. In those warm moments, I realized, the prey is more than food. It is the result of strength, unity, and deep gratitude for nature, the force that has nourished them for countless generations.
Sasa tekiata munyo da inki amina ta boga kwa mi onde akumunyo da kwe ku oma kwetu ngani ya ba mi aba na atu mi chono ba ikaza ma izaba na manyo da na ya ama sitena ya ba tena sitata togo to pa uzame amambia ngwasemeseme izo mtsoyinye tufuku amagwibikuku
After experiencing the warthog hunt with the Hadzabe hunters, I understood that each meal nourishes not only the body but also the spirit, a living testament to their courage, intelligence, and communal bond. From preparing tools, tracking the prey, to the tense confrontation with the warthog, every moment carries lessons of survival, patience, respect for nature, and the value of sharing. The Hadzabe show us that true strength doesn't come from technology or modern weapons, but from knowledge, experience, and the ability to live in harmony with the world around us. In our fast-paced modern lives, perhaps what we need most is to slow down, appreciate what we have, and reconnect with one another, just like they do, simply yet meaningfully. If you love discovering the wild and thrilling stories of the hunt, follow our channel to continue venturing into new adventures, where every moment holds lessons about life, instinct, and gratitude. Thousands of years ago, nearly 2 million years into the past, humans survived solely by instinct, hunting and gathering to stay alive. There were no machines, no technology, no modern comforts, only instincts, fire, and the bond between humans and the land. Today, right here on the dry savannas of Tanzania, one tribe still lives exactly that way, the Hadzabe. In the remote Yata Valley, I watch them prepare for a new day. Every step, every glance reminds me, it is as if time has never touched this place. Today, I will follow them from their very first footsteps, joining their pursuit of wild game and witnessing the rustic meals prepared afterward. Where the primal flavors of wild meat blend with ancestral stories, with the essence of life, and with the deep connection between humans, the land, the forest, and the wilderness. A new day in the small village begins quietly. I see the Hadzabe preparing their bows, their arrows tipped with toxic sap gathered from forest trees. Everyone gets to work, readying the simple tools needed for today's hunt. The soft click of bowstrings fills the still air, a sign that the rhythm of the ancient forest is waking up. Have you ever imagined standing in such a place? Where every breath blends with the wind, falling leaves, birdsong, and humans exist as a natural part of it.
Water guns. Only wooden bows. Carefully crafted arrow.
As dawnlight filters through the trees, we begin our hunting journey. The Hadza know the forest intimately. A broken branch, disturbed soil, a faint rustle of leaves, all become clues pointing toward where wild pigs, porcupines, or venomous snakes might be hiding. Watching them read even the smallest signs, I begin to understand the ancestral hunting knowledge forged over hundreds of generations, a perfect blend of memory, experience, and reflexes. When the prey reveals itself, arrows fly, and the hunt truly begins. Can you feel your own heartbeat quicken as you follow every movement? As the sun sets and golden light spreads across the vast savanna, we return to camp. On the shoulders of the lead hunter hangs a baboon, the day's hard-earned prize, yet in their eyes, there is no exhaustion, only joy and deep gratitude toward Mother Nature, for today hunger will not enter the camp. The air glows with the flicker of firewood crackling beneath the flames. With only a few primitive tools, a stone knife, glowing embers, the animal is clean, chopped, and roasted directly over the fire. You can almost smell the charred meat, hear the fat sizzling as it drifts onto the coals, and feel the pulse of wildlife through their simple, practiced motions. Pieces of meat are passed around. No tables, no plates, everyone gets a share. This meal is more than survival, it is a ritual of connection to nature, where sharing, gratitude, and community spirit have been preserved through countless generations. Watching their careful, gentle gestures, I realize that ancestral wisdom has merged seamlessly with survival instincts. Every hot piece of meat is not just food, it is a symbol of life and of ancient culture. In a modern world full of processed foods and technological convenience, have you ever wondered if such a primal lifestyle could still exist? For the Hadzabe, each hunt is not merely a quest for food, it is cultural identity, ancestral skill, and the glue that binds their community. They live slowly, simply, in harmony with the breath of the earth. Their food doesn't come from stores, it comes from respect for nature and from survival instinct. And perhaps it is precisely this harmony that allows the tribe to endure so sustainably in the wild. When you stand on the vast savanna, hearing the wind, smelling the smoke and roasted meat, you realize this is not just a meal. It is a journey into life, culture, and the primal instincts of humankind. In every shared piece of meat around the fire, in every berry collected from the deep forest, and in every joyful smile under the open sky, we see the Hadzabe simply a profound philosophy, equality, sharing, and gratitude to the land. They live with nature, without possessing it, without competing with it, and in return, they receive fulfillment and peace of spirit. This is the invaluable lesson modern people like us need to reflect upon. In a world full of convenience and haste, we must pause to honor our roots, preserve cultural identity, and live in harmony with nature, for that is the most enduring value of humankind. Welcome back to Tribal Earth Travel, where we explore the culture and history of tribes around the world. It might sound unbelievable, but in the 21st century, while we live surrounded by technology, Wi-Fi, smartphones, and comforts we can hardly imagine living without, there still exists, somewhere deep in the wild savannas of Tanzania, a tribe completely untouched by the modern world. No phones, no machines, no electricity or internet. Yet, they continue to live as their ancestors did thousands of years ago, in harmony with nature, guided by the rhythms of survival. They are the Hadzabe, the last true hunter-gatherers on Earth. I was astonished, even overwhelmed, witnessing how the Hadzabe hunt, how they survive in the vast wilderness, with such strength, resilience, and wisdom that it left me in absolute awe. Alright, we won't keep you waiting any longer, come with us and step into their world. Live, breathe, and experience every moment as if you were one of them. Let's begin this journey together. Today's hunt didn't begin with any elaborate or sacred ritual, but simply around a glowing campfire flickering in the cold morning mist. I watched as the Hadzabe men gathered together, passing around a stone pipe filled with their strong local tobacco. It wasn't just a moment to relax, it was a moment of deep connection. They talked, discussed hunting strategies for the day, and even shared the dreams they had the night before, a way to listen to intuition and interpret omens. The Hadzabe's preparation for the hunt is far from complicated, yet it's astonishingly effective. Everything they do is rooted in generations of experience and instinct, the pure essence of survival passed down through thousands of years. The hunters wore the most minimal clothing, sometimes just a shirt made from the fur of a recently hunted animal, or a worn-out pair of shorts. They stepped onto the savannah with no protection from the modern world, a testament to their absolute confidence in their skills and their harmony with the environment. The weapons they carried were incredibly simple, yet formidable: plain wooden bows, arrows coated with poisonous sap, feathered fletching to stabilize flight, and bowstrings braided from animal sinew. I have to admit, it's no coincidence that the Hadzabe hunters, the last true warriors of the African savanna, command such deep respect from me. Standing beside them, I notice the difference. They have no guns, no GPS, no modern technology, only bows, poison-tipped arrows, and a sharp intelligence honed over centuries of survival. Every step they take across the savanna exudes astonishing calm and precision. They follow top-tier tactics, always moving against the wind to avoid detection, keeping their bodies low, and silently blending into the faded grasses. What impressed me most was the way they communicated. Without words, a small hand gesture or a nod of the head is enough for the entire group to understand each other perfectly. When their target appears, whether a swift antelope or a large warthog, the group moves as a single, unified entity, quick, precise, and decisive. The arrows fly as lightly as the wind, yet carry within them the combined power of experience and instinct honed over generations. Watching them hunt, I realize this is not just pure skill, it is an art of survival. It is the perfect harmony between humans and the wild, where every hunter and every animal tests the limits of their own abilities. The Hadzabe are true masters of survival, keepers of an ancient knowledge that we in the modern world have long since lost. What few people know is that the Hadzabe possess an extraordinary memory for nature. They can recognize hundreds of plants, insects, animal tracks, and even the smallest changes in the weather that are barely noticeable to the human eye. It is this skill that allows them to always find food, water, and safe paths across the vast savanna. Another remarkable ability is their skill in nonverbal communication. While hunting or moving through the land, they rely only on glances, subtle gestures, or their distinctive clicking sounds to exchange information. Without a single word, every member fully understands the others, and this seamless coordination makes every hunt astonishingly efficient. The Hadzabe also teach us the value of living slowly yet meaningfully. They do not rush, they do not chase time. Every activity, from hunting and gathering to preparing a meal, is carried out with care, observation, and deep respect for the environment around them. Alright, now let's explore the eating customs of the Hadzabe. For the Hadzabe, a meal is not just about survival, it's an essential part of their communal way of life. Every meal begins with a day's effort spent hunting or gathering. The meat from freshly hunted prey, whether a warthog, antelope, or wild bird, is prepared in the simplest yet most thoughtful way, grilled directly over glowing coals, sometimes lightly seasoned with salt or forest herbs, preserving the pure, natural flavor of the wild. There are no modern stoves, no forks or knives, no refined spices. Everything is done with skillful hands and knowledge passed down through generations, from cleaning and cutting to cooking and sharing. What makes it truly special is the way they eat. Everything is shared fairly, without individual ownership or competition. A hadzabe meal is a communal ritual, with everyone sitting together, sharing food, stories, and laughter. It is in these simple moments that the spirit of freedom, community, and connection becomes clear. Each meal is not only nourishing to the body but also warming to the heart, serving as a vivid testament to how humans can live in harmony with nature while preserving humanity and the practice of sharing. I believe that from this journey, each of us can learn from the hadzabe their simplicity, equality, and sincere, unpretentious way of life. In a modern world full of noise and calculation, the hadzabe remind us that living is not just about existing, but about savoring every moment, respecting one another, and being in harmony with nature. They live slowly yet meaningfully, deeply connected to their community, sharing generously, and appreciating even the smallest gifts life offers. And perhaps that is the most valuable lesson we can take away from the wild African savanna, where freedom, courage, and the spirit of sharing still resonate in every breath of the hadzabe, reminding us that true happiness sometimes lies simply in balance and gratitude, something modern life has yet to fully embrace.